Hey, it's Tori, and welcome back to my channel. Today we have the wonderful Meg from VEXED here on the channel. How are you today, Meg?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. You have a brand new album coming out soon on the 23rd of July called Negative Energy, and you've released two singles so far, Antifestish and Cross My Heart, Hope to Die, which I just released a reaction to. We were just speaking, and I know you just got back from download, so I know you've not seen that yet. But how have you found the reaction to the two singles you have brought out so far?
Well, actually, the boys messaged me saying that you'd posted a video, so I have seen it, and it
Oh,
was
you.
amazing. So thank you. Um, but yeah, the reaction has been really good, and without sounding really cynical, like we weren't expecting it to be really good. I don't think you ever really know what to expect, but we always sort of try not to think too deeply into what people will think of them. Because you're always going to get trolls and stuff, but they've gone down really well, and that just makes it even better because we're really, really proud of this album. So the fact that other people like it is great. It's a proper bonus.
Yeah, because I'm really excited for it because this is my channel is obviously how I found you guys. So I haven't heard your previous album. I've only just heard, of course, the two singles because with being a reactor, it's so difficult. Like I'm very strict on myself. I don't go back and check discography just because on the off chance somebody, because I do live stream, just on the
Yeah.
the off chance somebody's like, hey, can you like react to this? And I always want it to be first time genuine. So
Hmm.
like I can't wait for your album to come out so I can actually
Thank you.
sit down and really like listen to it like from beginning to end of how you guys have, you know, did you guys set up a particular way for the singles to be, or can you just listen to it like any kind of order?
You can pretty much listen to it any order, but we did have a lot of problems picking the singles because um, we love all the songs, which is really cringe, but like we do really, really love this album. I know it's not cool to say, but yeah, we really love it. So we found it really difficult to choose them. So hopefully we've done an okay job to like represent the whole album. But yeah, you can listen to it just song by song or all the way through. I think it's always best to listen to it all the way through once,
Hmm.
just so you kind of get the theme or the vibe. But yeah, you can drop in and out for whatever you like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just from discovering you guys because I know Anti-Fetish for me, what I picked up lyrically from it is more so about like that comparison that female fronted bands and female vocalists get to each other, where
Yeah,
you don't see that like males don't really get compared to each other, and it's not a male fronted band, it's just a band. And
yeah.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's 100% right. That's where the lyric inspiration came from. Like, you probably get it being on a reaction channel as well. It'll be, well, so and so's already doing it, so we don't need more. And it's just so bizarre how we as women get put up in competition with each other, even when we haven't asked to be. And I've just gotten to the point where it's always been a thing and it used to upset me. It doesn't upset me anymore. I just find it irritating.
Hmm.
Um, and I got to the point where I'd been polite and tried to sort of ignore it, but I was just so fed up. I was like, you know what? I'm actually just going to write some lyrics directly about it and not try and dance around it, just be pretty blunt to the point. Um, because it does become, you know, just a competition of who's better, but it's stupid because
Hmm.
we're all individuals with our own talents and our own unique skill set. And there doesn't need to be just one woman doing everything in life. There's space for all of us. So yeah, it was just a build up of just those trolls and those annoying people that think it's okay to just talk to us like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it. I get it too in the reactor scene, of course. Like, as you were saying, like this person's doing what you're doing, so why do you need to be doing it? And I feel that
Yeah.
goes for a lot of female bands, because they're like, especially with the bigger bands, like of course, you've got your Gingers, your Tatianas, your Elisa, who do harsh vocals, and then you've got bands that are coming onto the scene or have been on the scene for a couple of years, but people are just discovering them and they're like, oh, another female that does growls. Oh, let's compare them, and it just
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. I've never understood that mentality. And of course then you get the gatekeepers who are like, well, Ginger was here first, or they're better, and I'm not even going to give this band a chance. And it's
Mm.
silly. It's really silly.
It's so silly. And I mean, like when I first started doing bands, I was 13. So I'm 29 this year. That was
Mm,
a long time ago. So just because people have only discovered us, for example, now, doesn't mean that we haven't been around
right.
just as long, or if not longer, than those
Hmm.
bands that they're gatekeeping. Um, just because bands start to get a little bit of recognition, it doesn't mean you know the whole story or how long they've been around for. So yeah, it's really frustrating. And also, but when I first started and I used to get the Tatiana comparisons, I had no idea who Ginger were. Like, we signed to Napalm and I still didn't know who they were,
Hmm.
because they just weren't in my music cycle. They're just not the type of music I listen to. So I
Yeah,
went and checked them out. She's incredibly talented, so are the band, but they're still not the band that I listen to. So, to put on a woman that you're copying this band simply because you happen to be the same gender is just so ignorant and insulting to both bands, to me and to Ginger.
yeah.
It's not fair. We're allowed to be our own artists. And also, if girls want to take inspiration from other women in metal, they should. There's nothing wrong with
Absolutely.
that either.
Absolutely. And to be able to give that to another woman, it's got to be like uplifting to you as well. And listening, because I am a fan of Ginger, like I do like their music, but then listening to your stuff, like your vocal styles are completely different. Like I don't see
Yeah.
any similarities whatsoever. Like you're just completely two separate bands, even in genres. So
Yes.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It's so silly. Like, Tatiana is a powerhouse and she's like a traditional metal vocalist,
Hmm.
like Lamb of God Tool, like very kind of traditional sounding. And then I think we're sort of just like on the more on the modern side and the alternative side, and it's just a bit. It's just so different. If I was a dude, they wouldn't be making these
No,
comparisons. So yeah, it's just lazy and it's stupid. But
it's
yeah, they
incredible.
are an amazing band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredibly lazy, I think. I think people just, that's the first, because Ginger are so big right now, that's just the first thing that comes to their mind, and they're like, oh, female
Yeah.
who does harsh vocals in metal. Oh, you're copying Ginger, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
We're moving on to your second single that you brought out, Cross My Heart. So how I came across that video, like lyrically for me, it was more so like about the church and the corruption in the church. But I know, like, I got a little like information sheet from Napalm themselves before we started this interview, so I did read a little bit about it. I just wanted to get your own thoughts and the message behind those lyrics from you personally.
So when I was watching your video this morning, you were one of the very few people that have picked up on it. Like, you were spot on. There's a couple of meanings behind the song, because ultimately the album, there's a much bigger picture. It's
Mm-hmm.
about losing a loved one and grief, but with
Mm-hmm.
that it kind of like spiders off into other topics. And I was raised in a religious family, so all I ever knew was Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older and I started, critically thinking for myself and looking into things more and actually learning about the church, I realized that it's so corrupted and so just contradictory of all the things that it teaches, that I was like, you know what, I don't actually want to be a part of this anymore. And, you know, whatever anybody wants to believe in is totally their choice and their right. But when you start taking advantage of others and trying to make laws over people's bodies, or telling people who they can and can't love, I'm checking out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not subscribing to that anymore. So that was the one side. And then the other lyrical sort of meaning behind it was just sort of when you come across extreme religious people, followers, they sort of tell you with their whole being that, like, when we die, this is what happens. And there's no room for conversation. There's no room for interpretation. You're just told this is what it is, and you're wrong if you think otherwise. And it just really bothered me because, you know, I'm a big believer in being able to talk about things and disagree, and, you know, not necessarily have to come to a conclusion on things. And ultimately, none of us actually know what happens after you die. Like, nobody actually physically knows, you know. So it was just sort of me standing up to those people that tell me, have told me in the past, if you do this, a mismatch of all those things just sort of put into one 3 and a bit minute song, the best I could, really. But yeah, when you paused it towards the end and you were talking about walking around the Vatican, I was like, yes, she gets it.
Yeah.
Gets it.
That just, it completely blew my mind. Like, I've always known, so I was actually Christian Catholic as well, but I wasn't ever raised in that. My parents only did it to please my dad's mum. But I wasn't ever raised in like a religious environment or anything like that. My mum's got more like paganistic views. My dad doesn't really talk about religious. So I've always had like an open household with that. But then I live in a Bible Belt right now in North Carolina, so I get that extreme religious, you know.
Yeah.
And I just, with having religious education in school and learning about Jesus as a being, I don't believe he would be what they say he is. I don't believe that he would turn people away just because of who they love or how they look or how they or what they believe in. I believe he would take everybody in under his wing, and he'd be completely happy with that. And it's just the way that people have twisted that to their own gain and their own greed that I just like you say, I'm out. I'm checked out. You know, if you want to be religious and if you want to believe in that sort of thing, then that's completely fine. That's your life to live and your opinion. But when you're pushing it so forcefully on others, that's when I'm like, whoa, you know?
Yeah.
Like you, I'm up for a healthy debate and for talking about things, because obviously everybody has their own opinion on things, and of course you're never going to agree on everything. But when people just see dollar signs, I'm like, no, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, you're spot on.
Well, good. I'm glad I got it, because when I, you know, of course, I read the description about it, about the death, and of course not everybody, well, nobody knows what comes after death. And, you know, that's one of my biggest fears, honestly, is just, I'm not scared of dying. That's inevitable. That's going to happen. But just the, what happens? Do we go somewhere else? Does it just end? Is, you know, it's one of those life questions that we're never going to get answered. So but moving on to like the name of the album, of course, is Negative Energy. And then I was reading through like the names of the singles. There seems to be like a running theme of the album. Would you like to discuss more into that?
Yeah, sure. So the album name came from literally how we were feeling whilst writing it. We spent almost a year trying to write the follow-up to our first album, and everything we wrote we thought was terrible, and it just wasn't genuine. We were all going through some really, really tough times, and we were trying really hard to like push this positive narrative of like, everything's fine, everything happens for a reason, we'll be okay, we'll get through this. but like it was so disingenuous, and we were kind of kidding ourselves because you can't always be like that, you
Mm-mm.
know. And that doesn't mean that you're being miserable or being pessimistic. It's just the reality of life is that sometimes things really suck,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not always silver linings to everything. So after sort of the first 8 months or so of like trying and failing, we sat down together and we were like, you know what, instead of trying to put positive spins on things, let's just put all the negativity into the album. Let's just talk about all the things that we've experienced, all the negativity, and make music out of that. And don't try and sugarcoat it. And
Mm-hmm.
we managed to write the album and record it in the space of 3 months
Oh wow.
because it was just like, let's just talk about the negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out a lot quicker. So yeah, that's pretty much what the album was. And it's been a really, really slow, but then suddenly rapidly fast process.
Yeah. Well, I think that shows. I think a lot more people connect to that honesty as well with your feelings, because as you say, not everything is rainbows and butterflies and happy all the time. The people, of course, suffer with severe depression and thoughts of I'm going to say unaliving because YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But, and nothing's, of course, I personally just take each day as it comes, because I've learned that I'm not a planner. I can't plan like 5 years in advance and be like, oh, I want to do this in 5 years. I'm not that person. I
Yeah.
take each day as it comes. If it's a shitty day, then I'll allow myself to veg on the couch and do nothing. And I think we need to allow ourselves to do that and to have that mental reset. And I think
Yeah.
as a society, we don't. It's always like, you have to be happy, you have to do this, you have to, you can't just sit around and do nothing. Where no, we as a human race, as a society, we need to learn to decompress. And I think that's great how you guys really did that with your album. You spent those 8 months just trying something and it wasn't working for you guys, and you were just like, well, you know what, fuck it, we're feeling this kind of way. It's all negative, but we're going to put it out there, and I think a lot of people are going to connect with that.
Yeah, I hope so. And you're totally right. There's such a stigma to just like, especially with social media. I know it's spoken
Mm-hmm.
about a lot, but it's so true to just like be this perfect version of yourself 24/7. And it's just not possible. And even if it was, if you could portray that all the time, you're not actually going to be feeling it. It's just not a normal way to be. You know, everybody has bad days, good days, terrible days. And I am definitely the kind of person that if I'm having a terrible day, I go and buy a McDonald's and lie in bed watching cartoons all day. So, you have to you have to allow yourself, you have to treat your brain like a bone. If you
Mm-hmm.
broke your leg, you wouldn't go run a marathon.
Mm-mm.
If you're having a really, really bad mental day, you need to rest it and distract yourself. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's very important to kind of let yourself have breaks, even from yourself, from your own brain. And yeah, I'm hoping that people will be able to see that through the album and realize we're not just sort of being defeatist. It's
Mm-hmm.
just how we were feeling at the time.
Right. And I don't think it'll come off as being defeatist at all. I think even with the first two singles you've released so far, they haven't felt that way whatsoever. It's just an honest, open conversation about your feelings on those subject matters, and I feel that's probably how the rest of the album is going to go. And so I just wanted to talk about, are you going to be releasing any more singles before the album comes out? Like, without giving away spoilers?
Yeah, we've got one more coming
One
out.
more.
I can't remember when it's coming out, which is terrible, but it's coming out before the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Trauma Euphoria is coming out within the next week or so, which is exciting because that's quite different from the first two. It's a bit of a change in pace, but yeah, and then the album's out, and we're just so excited to get it out. I cannot wait for people to hear it.
Yeah, I'm super excited myself. Are you going to be doing like an album tour with it to promote it?
Yeah, we're currently working on dates, making sure that um, those dates don't clash with anything else that's going on, because we were originally going to do some dates on the actual release day,
Mm-hmm.
but then we found out that there were several like festivals going on, and we were like, nah, we can't do that because nobody will
Yeah.
turn up.
Yeah, it's hard to plan during festival season, I'm sure.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll definitely be releasing some dates, and yeah, just so excited for this next era of our band. So yeah, exciting.
So, where did the name Vexed come from?
So it came from the book, The Count of Monte Cristo. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you like
Yeah.
reading. Um, yeah, it's like my favorite book, my favorite story ever. And we were starting a new band, and it needed a name. And trying to think of a name for a band is just the most difficult thing. So yeah, I was reading that at the time, and the word vex just kept coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and Googled the meaning of it properly, and I was like, yeah, that's a cool word. It looks pretty symmetrical, and it kind of sums up the music that we are writing. So that's where it came from. Yeah, just
That's
reading a lot of
really
books.
cool. It's kind of like a sign in a way, it just like your
Yeah,
favorite book and it just keeps popping out and you're like, huh? Because I think
yeah,
that's how sometimes it just when things just flow so organically like that, it's like, it just works. And like you
yeah.
say, it's symmetrical. It's 5 words, and then you've got and it just, I really think it fits your band and your
Thank
sound
you.
as well. So I think it's a fantastic name. I really loved I really love the meaning behind it as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
I wanted to know like what your musical inspirations are. It doesn't have to be metal, like whatever you listen to, where do you pull inspiration from?
So when it comes to heavy stuff, I'm a big old school fan of like Amure,
Mm-hmm.
um, Meshuggah, Thy Art Is Murder, just
Mm-hmm.
very like angry, chuggy kind of music.
Yeah.
Um, bands like King 810 as well, like they get a bad rep because people are like, oh, it's just zeros and ones and zeros and ones, and like, yeah, okay, that can get a bit boring sometimes, but if it makes you feel some kind of way and you can get that anger out, there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Right.
I do quite enjoy a simple but nasty breakdown. So
Yeah.
when it comes to, yeah, when it comes to the heavy stuff, that's what I love. But on like a day-to-day basis, I tend to listen to like a lot of pop music. I love Charlie XCX,
Mm-hmm.
Ash Nico, Rico Nasty, and yeah, just a lot of like hip hop, grime, rap. So yeah, I would say I mostly listen to like popular music and um like rap stuff, but yeah, my heart will always be with heavy music, but I like to listen to it in sort of like dribs and drabs. Otherwise, I'll get too sick of it.
Right. I think especially with being a musician, it's good to have like a broad horizon of different genres, because like when you were saying like the rap and things like that, I can kind of feel that coming out in Cross My Heart, especially during that one verse where you're doing like that spoken part
Mhm.
and then you go into the harsh vocal. I love that, like absolutely
Thank
love
you.
it, because it's so different to what you would normally hear in like metal and things like that. So I love that you guys experiment and play around with different genres and pull inspiration from different genres, because I'm the same. Like I don't listen to just rock and metal. I like all kinds of
Mhm.
different music, and I think it's great when people aren't just stuck in one thing,
Yeah,
I think that's when people start to gatekeep, is when they're just stuck in that one genre. And
definitely.
then because I get it in comments all the time, because with being a first time genuine reaction, I don't like researching bands because I don't want anything to spoil anything for me, and then they're like, well, you should know
Yeah.
more, and I'm like, aren't you here for like a
Why?
first time
Yeah.
reaction? Like,
Yeah.
I just,
Exactly.
yeah, but. So I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I just wanted to know if you had like any last words for people who are either old fans, new fans, people just discovering you, or like just in general, any last words about like the album or anything you'd like to say?
Honestly, just thank you to anybody who listens, because we've been to hell and back the last couple of years, and I know our fans waited a long time for this album. So the fact that they were so patient and kind, just waiting for us whenever we were ready, was incredibly heartwarming and brought me to tears a lot, honestly. They're so lovely, and so we're so grateful. And I just want to say thank you to anybody who waited and anybody who's going to listen. It means the world to us. And yeah, we just hope you enjoy it. It's out on the 23rd of June. And yeah, Negative Energy, go give it a spin.
I also just wanted to get your opinion on being a reactor. I just wanted to get your opinion on reaction channels. Like, how do you feel about them?
So I have a love-hate with them. I'm like, I'm either fully in on someone's channel, or I'll be on it for 10 seconds and be like, nah.
Yeah.
Because it's got to come down to the actual person. Like yourself, absolutely love your channel. Rachel reacts. I think she's brilliant. Chris and Matt, there's some absolutely brilliant reaction channels because they're people who actually react. And then you'll get channels of people just sat there watching your music video, and then at the end they're like, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's supposed to be a reaction, you know?
Yeah, you can definitely tell those who are just in it for the clicks and the views, and then those who actually appreciate music and just like me.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit about numbers or anything like that. You know, I'm more so just, for me personally, I just want to if it wasn't for my channel, I would never have found bands like yourself. I'd have been stuck in my little bubble, you know, and I think we all get stuck sometimes, and we all have a hard time branching out and finding new things. So when I did discover reaction channels myself, and I watched for like over a year before I decided to start, and I was like, you know, when I'm home alone, or even when my husband's here, because he's a gamer, so he's doing like gaming or whatever, I have this I have this headset on, and I'm always listening to music all the time. So like, it's just a huge passion. While I'm not like a musician or have any talent in that way, just I like discovering bands like yourself and connecting with your music and creating that community as well, like, and having people recommend you, and now being able to, like, I never thought I would get to interview bands and people like you. So I really appreciate you like coming here, because I am a very like quiet person, because of course you'll get those reactions who are like jumping around and being crazy, and that's just not who I am as a person. So I'm not shy per se. I'm just quiet. I'm more of a listener. So, you know, I just want to thank you so much for coming on and for chatting with me today. It does help build my confidence as well, just to, you know, to talk with different people.
That's amazing. Thank you for having me. Like, honestly, your channel is fantastic, and you're the 100% on the love side of the reaction channels. And we do need more people like yourself and more women to do it. So it's amazing. So you're doing a sick job. So thank you for hyping up Vex so much. It's the best.
Yeah, I will definitely, as soon as the album comes out, I will hype it up 100% sure. And do you guys have merch out right now?
We've got all our merch on pre-order at the moment, but I think it's arriving this week, so we will be sending it all out.
Gonna have to check what you guys have and like order myself a t-shirt or something, because I definitely need to represent you guys, because I like buying, like, I use Spotify. I know it's not the best thing, but I like buying physical merch rather than, you know, like, you know, because I just like being able to, it's one of the best ways to support the band. Like, whenever I go to a live show, I definitely make sure, even if I just buy a t-shirt, it's something that's going to the band themselves, you know. So
exactly.
Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this interview. Negative Energy is out on June 23rd. You can pre-order it now via Napalm Records. I will leave the link in the description. Of course, I will leave Vexed's social medias, the YouTube channel, everything down below, so you can head on over and subscribe, give them a listen, comment, because comments help the algorithm and help get, YouTube to notice and to push it out to recommendations to other people. So please do that. And yeah, thank you so much, Meg, for this wonderful chat. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And
Thank you for having me.
Definitely go ahead and follow them, listen to their music, and pre-order the album. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you soon. Bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe to become a Taurian. Speaking of becoming a Taurian, all of my social media links and my Discord link are down in the description. We'd absolutely love to have you come hang out in the Discord community, and I will see you guys in the next video. Rock on.